Hi, I'm Layla, and I am a healthy woman inside and out.
My name is Amy Olivero Pertol, and I am a healthy woman inside and out.
I'm Dr. Linda Wilson, and I am a healthy woman inside and out.
Thank you for joining us on The Healthy Woman Inside and Out. This show is for women, about women. I will tell you, it doesn't matter what you're going through, you're going to hear some amazing stories from women who have been through something, but yet they managed to get through it. I know that might be you. You might be going through something or have been through something and you just want to get through it. Well, The Healthy Woman Inside and Out want to help you on that journey. Or you might say, that's me, I've been there, I've experienced that. So I just want to tell you right now, if you're watching this show, you are a healthy woman inside and out. Welcome to The Healthy Woman Inside and Out. Today's guest is going to be Linda Wilson, and we're going to be talking about recovery. And what I thought was really great when she said what brought her out of it was something that her daughter told her. Well, let's welcome to the show, Linda Wilson. Linda, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Hi, Adele. I'm good, and it's good to be here.
You know, you shared with me your story about recovery, how you went from being a drug addict till now you are a healthy woman inside and out. Can you share with our listening audience about what you went through, all the changes you went through, and how your daughter helped brought you around?
Yes, I can. Actually, I'm from West Dallas, which, as you know, is a bad area of town. I went to college, was a police officer for 2 years, got disenchanted with the system, chose a life of crime and drugs. Had the blessing to get married at 42 years old and had a little girl. And in the beginning, my father had to raise my child because I was not a good mother. I chose drugs and the streets. But God does everything for a reason.
Yes, He does.
And I can recall when my little girl was about 3 years old, my dad brought her to visit me because I wasn't allowed to keep her. And when it was time for her to go home, she said, I'm not going to go home. I'm going to stay here and take care of my mom.
See, when you said that part right there, when she said she was going to stay there and take care of you, I thought, you know, that was so admirable of her to say that she wanted to take care of you. And then what happened from there, Linda?
You know, it's amazing. You know, God does everything for a reason. And my little girl wasn't very talkative, but that sentence was so clear that my dad and we knew that, you know, it had to be God in it. And from that day, I haven't looked back. I've gone on to get my master's, to get my doctor's, to get my LCDCI. And now I'm working on a program to go into prisons and help inmates get their life in recovery and get back in order. Because the rate of recidivism for Texas with mothers is ridiculous. It's just an extraordinary amount.
Now, you said your daughter, and I know that you have a program now where you're wanting to go into the prison system and help inmates. Tell us a little bit about that.
I do. It's a 501c3, which is a nonprofit, and the name of it is the Wanted Foundation.
The Wanted Foundation.
The Wanted Foundation. The reason I chose that name is because when it comes to recovery and getting your life back, you have to want it. Mandatory that you want it. It's not going to be easy. It's a hard road, but it's well worth it.
So what if they don't want it, but at first they find that they want it and then they decide, nah, this is not for me. This is not what I want to do.
Well, you know, anything worth having, it's going to have some trials and tribulation. Nothing worth having comes easy. When I went back to school to get my master's, I was a single parent. I still am. It was a struggle. I still had to take care of my little girl, and then I had to find time to study. But I did. And then the state said, for me to do what I wanted to do, I needed an LCDC. So now I had to go back to school. So school is hard, but now that I have that, I'm so glad that I took the time to accomplish my goals.
So you wanted it, huh, Linda?
I wanted it.
I like that name, Wanted Foundation. So what's next for Linda Wilson?
Hopefully, I have several judges that said they're going to back me. I want to go into the prison and maybe handpick the people that I think are sincere about recovery and their lives. And I want to help them get back on the right track. I want to help them with housing, with jobs, with getting CPS and APS out of their lives, and just wanting a better life.
So I know that sometimes we've got women, who end up in the system and their kids get taken away from them. Would your foundation be able to help them in terms of wanting to get their kids back in the recovery process?
Yes, for me, with recovery, my recovery program takes the holistic approach, because I realize with addiction, it's not just about the drugs. Something went wrong for you to get on drugs in the first place. Being raped, being abused, being verbally abused. There are so many different circumstances that predicate one falling into the circle of addiction, but that's not the only recovery. We have women that have been verbally abused, that have been raped. They need recovery. We have people that didn't do drugs, but they sold drugs. They're addicted to the lifestyle. They need recovery. We have veterans even that came home from the war and chose drugs because the family is no longer there. The wife is kids by other men. There are just so many different things that bring you to that circle for recovery. So recovery is not just from drugs. That's my background. That's my story. But there are so many stories, and it's just a melting pot. But the holistic approach, we want to address that. What good would it do you to get off drugs and you have no home? What good would it do you to get off drugs and your children are still in the system? That'll drive you back, because you're going to need something to medicate that pain.
And when you said that, because I know there are some women who were abused, they're in broken relationships, marriages, and so it's not just drugs, like you said.
That's right.
It's sometimes just the abuse that they're going through that they find a way to medicate themselves.
Exactly. Well, that's why the Wanted Foundation, it's not just about drugs. It's the holistic approach. If you need counseling for verbal abuse, we can get that. If you need transportation to get to court, we can do that. If you need just parenting classes to make you a better parent, to get your kids and be a better parent when you get your kids, we can address that. If you have teenage kids and they're going wayward and you see them heading to the system, we can address that. We take the holistic approach.
I like that, because you're not just looking at women, although the show is called The Healthy Woman Inside and Out. You're not just looking at women. You're looking at everyone, because something happens to all of us, each and every one of us, whether be it female, be it male, something happens to us that we say we can't take it no more.
That's right.
I just give up. And so because we give up, we don't know who to turn to.
That's right.
And even though your foundation is there, are you doing an outreach where you're going out into the community, going into the jails? I know you said you were going into the jails, but what about the communities?
Yes, we do. We're trying to start a program that's working through the VA, the Veterans Administration, because there are so many veterans that even though it's centered around the veteran, just like we're centered around the women, you don't do the road by yourself. A woman is compiled of a mother, a father, sisters, brothers, children, aunts, uncles. We're not just on this road alone. So even though she may come into the program for drug recovery, what about her kids? What about that ex-husband? What about the man that left her? What about, the parents that are disgruntled with you in and out the system and taking care of your children? So even though she came into the program is going to help her through the whole cycle. The neighbors, even neighbors, have to pitch in, because sometimes we take for granted that statement, it takes a village to raise a child, but it does. And some of us, even as adults, we're still children. If you were molested at 9 years old, emotionally, you're still 9. So even though you're 40 or 50 years of age, emotionally, you're still a little kid in there that needs, that shelter, that you're just not going to be able to do it unless somebody enacts that support system to get you back on track. And you can't do that alone. Nobody walks the road alone. You can't live in this world by yourself.
You certainly can't, but I like the idea that you're saying, oh, we're not just looking at that individual, we're looking at the whole family. Everybody has to get involved in order to make this recovery
easy.
Yes.
And I like that, because if we don't get everyone involved, what ends up happening, someone gets left out. And like you said, it takes a whole village
It does.
to make a family. And and I like the fact that you're doing it with the word.
Exactly. And a lot of us don't realize the word, our organization is scripture based, but people don't realize sometimes you only have the word. Family, friends, loved ones, they will turn their backs on you, and you've given them ample reasons. I can't count the times that I relapsed. So when I did get it right, I can understand them not being as optimistic about it as I was. I understand the skepticism, because how many times did you say you had it and you didn't? So you have to get those people involved. They have to know that those days that you're discouraged, encourage her. You never know that one word of encouragement can change someone's life. And you never know, you may be the only scripture somebody sees. They may not have a Bible, they may not go to church, but if they see the light in you, that light can shine
all over the world.
all over the world.
All right now. So now, if there was one thing that you could leave with our audience today, what would that be?
Two things.
Two
You
things.
have to want it. That's the
Okay.
first thing. You gotta want it, and you gotta be willing to work to get it. But my little girl, when I first got in recovery, I didn't really have scripture. I wasn't grounded, but I knew I wanted to be a better mom for her sake, and she taught me my God is BIG. And she was just a little girl, but I've never forgotten those words.
Wow.
And I have told so many people in recovery, just remember, my God is BIG. You can do all things with that.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Well, Linda, I want to thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having
and
me.
thank you for sharing your testimony, because I really feel like it's a great one. And if our listening audience out there could get in touch with you, how would they get in touch with you? What would it be?
We're online at WANTIT, WANTIT, foundation.org or foundation.com.
Well, Linda, again, I want to say thank you. And you go out there and you help as many people recover.
I'm going to do
And
it.
I'm looking to hear your success stories.
Thank you.
I just want to talk a little bit about the Healthy Woman Inside and Out. This show is based on the book, The Healthy Woman Inside and Out. It was a book that I wrote back in the year 2000, I would say 2002. It was something that was given to me after I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. The doctor said to me, "How does that make you feel?" And I asked her two questions. One, can I live with it? And two, what do I need to do? And after that, I started telling everyone that was the doctor's diagnosis, but not God's prognosis for my life. So the show and the book is to let women know that no matter what you may be going through, you are still a healthy woman inside and out. If you want to get a copy of the book, you can go to www.AquariusCreation, CreationPublishing.com. Again, that's www.AquariusCreation, Publishing.com.